Greetings, Galloway families. It's Annette Giaquinto, Dr. G, Superintendent of Schools, here with an important message about school opening for the 2020-2021 school year. I cannot believe that more than 4 months have passed since the pandemic caused our health-related school closure. And here we are, midsummer. During this time, I am sure you have experienced many different feelings. I know many of you have different opinions and different ideas regarding the new school year. I hope amid all of challenges you may have faced, things that you are still trying to manage and handle, that you have also found ways to build relationships and connect with others in a meaningful way. I hope that you have found an opportunity to enjoy a sunny day, a quiet moment, and to find peace. Here in the district, we remain focused on serving our children, supporting our families, and working collaboratively with our staff. In terms of planning for the new year, our administrative team, 12-month staff, and certain 10-month staff participating on committees have been working hard to review the information provided by the state and many other important resources. We also have engaged with an advisory committee comprised of more than 100 people, parents and guardians, staff members of all different categories, Board of Education members, and community members. Based on all of our work to date, we are now ready to share with you key information related to our opening plan. So along with this video message, whether you are a parent guardian or perhaps even a student watching or a staff member, you will receive an email from the school district and information will be posted on the staff homepage for staff, obviously, for families on our district website, and the family information will also be posted on our Facebook page. It will include a voiced over PowerPoint with the most critical points of our plan, a Q&A, question and answer, document based on the most common and important questions that you have asked, be it through the surveys we have put out, your participation on the committee, or through an email directly to me or another administrator. It also includes the key questions from the required restart planning guidance that we have received from the state and are able to answer at this time. For staff members, there will be items that you may need to submit to us. That depends on your individual situation. For families, it is absolutely necessary that you complete a form called a commitment form that answers important questions regarding each of your children. Questions such as what option for schooling will you select for the school year? There's a lot of detail about that in the presentation PowerPoint as well as the Q&A. Questions about transportation as well as if you need assistance with technology. In each and every case, I want you to know that a great deal of thought and time and care for both the physical and emotional well-being of everyone, as well as the education of our children. We are offering two main choices. One is for a family to pick totally virtual, and the other is for a family to pick a hybrid, which is a combination of in-person and virtual days. More details are included in the PowerPoint. It is really important that despite a lot of reading and listening, that you take the time to do it before finalizing your decision. And of course, if you have questions, you are welcome to contact me. We are asking that student commitment form be completed by next Wednesday, August 5th. As I mentioned, we have a lot of our plan completed, but there is still work to be done, and the focus of that work in large part is based on what option a family selects for each child. I also want to mention, if your child is in a self-contained special ed program or has certain other services, some additional information will be coming to you based on the plan for the school year. In any event, we will continue to provide updates, be it videos, emails, websites, informational meetings held virtually. I anticipate holding one next week. Please look for an announcement about that, and certainly through our board meetings. Our next board meeting is Monday, August 10th, and we anticipate that it will be held in person with live streaming through YouTube so that anyone can participate. Please look for information about that on our Facebook page and website. The most important thing I want to share with you in ending this message is we care and we are here for you. We are trying to meet the guidelines that the state has put forth, even when every question is not answered by the state. That's where we're putting our heads together and going to available resources. We want everyone to feel that we have listened and that we will put forward a quality program, be it totally virtual or a combination for our children. Our entire staff, faculty, administration, and Board of Education remain dedicated to each and every one of you. Again, I offer you wishes for well-being, physically and emotionally. Please contact me via district email or by calling the district office. Thank you so much for listening to this message, and take care. 2 important steps. First, take the time to watch this presentation and read the Q&A, the frequently asked questions. Once you do that, families need to complete a commitment form, one for each child, by Wednesday, August 5th, and staff members need to complete the form sent via email if it applies to you. The first section of this presentation is information provided by the state. As you can see, the Department of Education sent us a document called Restart and Recovery Plan for Education. It's a 104-page document with 4 key areas and 2 levels of guidance. Part of this is notifying families of our plan 1 month before school opens. We are taking the time to do that as part of this presentation. One of the important things to remember is that the governor outlined the road back with several distinct stages. We are currently in stage 2, and there is an executive order which only allows for a 25% capacity or 100 people. In the guidance, stage 3 talks about K-12 education in person with reduced capacity. We would need to enter stage 3, and the governor would need to increase the 25% capacity to 50% or more for even a hybrid model to be implemented. This page, and I certainly will not read it to you, makes the point that the governor announcing that schools can reopen in September was based on the health data and trends at the time. Should that data change, and particularly if the data would become heightened or increased in cases or deaths, the possibility exists that the governor would not allow us to open school in person in September. What have we been doing here in the district? Collaboration is a hallmark of our district at all times and is particularly important during the restart planning. You can see on this slide all the various members of the district, other districts, other government agencies, and various categories of staff that have been involved. Additionally, stakeholder input is also important. You may recall that we originally sent a form where you could express interest in participating or ask questions or make comments. As you can see, more than 400 people did so, and 105 of them, staff members in all different categories, and parents, guardians, and others, became members of our committee. Additionally, from this form, we gathered many questions and comments and have been reviewing them, and they helped inform our planning and our FAQ. Following that, we did a family survey, and there are a little over 1,900 families in the district, some having more than one child. We received an all-time record response of more than 1,700 families, and this data was critical for our planning. Doing things to prepare our schools physically on the non-instructional and health and safety side, as well as the educational side, are quite important. As you can see on this screen, we have taken a number of steps to enhance health and safety and provide protection, as well as purchases to support the educational side. One item of note, and it's in the Q&A, we are purchasing instructional materials, particularly things that students tend to share in a class, so that no sharing is necessary. So, based on all the work we've done, all the analysis, the input, the collaboration, what will we be offering to our students? What is our model? Well, one part of it is a totally virtual option, that every aspect of teaching and learning is done virtual. Part of this will be synchronous or live. Part of it will be asynchronous, where students may be watching a pre-recorded video, working on their own, using an online resource. As you can see, a schedule will be provided. We have a virtual learning committee of 35 educators that really are doing a tremendous job to make sure that anything virtual is enhanced. And one of the main concepts is watch, do, meet. We will include every content area, and daily attendance will be taken, and grading will be the same as in person. As we get closer to the school year, Those of you that select the virtual only option will receive more information and training. The second option is a hybrid model. And again, we are looking at an enhanced virtual aspect of this. So in this hybrid model, students are split into two groups, are in person on some days, and are virtual learning from home on other days. Once again, there will be synchronous and asynchronous experiences when the children are not in person. Breakfast and lunch will be provided, and all the in-person days are early dismissal. During our advisory committee meetings, parents made many suggestions, and one of them, could we have a preference of the A group or the B group? And we will allow that preference, but we hope you understand that it cannot be guaranteed. Once you complete your commitment form, we will analyze all that, and you will be notified whether your child is in the A group or the B group. Another important question: if you have a child that more than one of our schools, pre-K to 8, will they be in the same group or schedule? Yes, they certainly will. So, why did we select a hybrid model? Well, we went into the process, and I can tell you that I was very dedicated to trying to bring in every child whose family wanted them to attend in person 4 or 5 days a week. When we analyzed class size, the size and shape of our classrooms, all the health and safety guidelines, we realized it was not a good way to start the year. It was not something we could implement in a way that we felt comfortable with or we felt families would. So by dividing the in-person children into two groups, we allow for smaller class size, and as we acclimate the children to arrival and dismissal and hallway movement and all the other changes in the school day, we will be able to do so in smaller groups. So why an early dismissal day? Well, cleaning and disinfecting is extremely important. And by doing the early dismissal, that allows more time for our staff to do a thorough job. Additionally, after dismissal, teachers and related service providers, counselors, all of our staff can connect with those children who it was their virtual day rather than their in-person day, and do that in a more personal manner. Why is Monday the all-virtual day? Well, once again, there's an instructional and non-instructional reason. On the instructional side, it allows the teacher to start the week, viewing the week, sharing the plan for the week, looking at objectives all at once before the children split into the A and B groups. We believe this is more educationally sound. On the non-instructional side, you may or may not realize that we will continue to provide food service. You may recall, or you may be new to Galloway, we provide universal breakfast. Every child that wants breakfast receives it at no cost to the family every day. For lunch, we have our children who are in free and reduced, or we have families who wish to purchase lunch. Whether you are attending in person or you are attending totally virtually, we have the obligation to provide these meals. By being virtual on Monday, everyone who needs meals for the whole week will be able to pick them up. And this will also help with the children that are only in certain days of the week. One of the questions we've asked, when I fill out my commitment form, is that for the whole year? In our district, it is not. The initial commitment is for the first marking period. And I do want to mention that all grade levels will be working in 4 marking periods this year. That first marking period begins on the first day of school and goes through November 19th. I also want to note, if a student starts virtually and the family wants to change them to in-person, you have to wait until the next marking period begins, and you need to give us at least 2 weeks notice. The reverse, if you start in person and want to switch to all virtual, there's also a process, and we will need at least 1 week prior. Forms will be provided for this, and I do need to note, changes are not guaranteed. So, we're starting with this hybrid option of 2 in-person days and 3 virtual days. Will that stay the same? We will continually assess how our plan is going, both on the totally virtual side and on the hybrid side. If we believe we can increase the number of days that children are in person, which would mean it wouldn't be divided in half, we will do that. But we need to look at our own data, health trends, and any direction from the governor. So, what are some other common questions that have been sent to us via email, through the interest input, from the committees, or during a board meeting? Here we go. So what are the mask wearing guidelines? We believe that it is important for children to wear a mask. It is promoted throughout our state when you look at guidelines from the various associations. We also believe that we need to be reasonable, looking at how that affects younger children, or if someone has a documented medical condition. So, when children are on the bus, entering the building, walking around the building, and in their classroom, and they are not behind their shield, they will need to wear the mask. When they are behind that shield, let's say they are outside and they are more than 6 feet away, they are opportunities where the children do not need to wear their face covering. And I know there are a lot of different opinions on that, but we must take the information and guidance provided to us and work within that framework. As noted on the screen, if a student has the ability to understand the mask wearing guidelines and simply refuses, we will contact parents. And if compliance does not happen, we will have to switch the student to virtual learning. We do not like to be punitive. However, this is a health and safety issue. That is why we are educating you on the front side and want you to know the reasons for our decisions. Temperature checks, an area that we have received questions from families and staff alike. Note that we will not be doing daily temperature checks at school. This is based on review of medical information, talking with our own school nurses who have met and will continue to meet with our district doctor, as well as guidelines provided by the state. Reasons for this are shown on this slide, everything from false positives to fever not always being present, as well as issues with privacy. So that means the responsibility is on parents and guardians for their children and staff members for themselves. There will be a form that everyone has to sign that you are acknowledging your commitment to doing this. Additional details will be provided. As you likely know, our staff members are always doing visual checks of students, noticing if a student does not, or students don't seem like themselves, if they're extra tired. Obviously, some things are obvious, like a child coughing a lot or sneezing a lot, any student exhibiting symptoms will be sent to the nurse. In this manner, we all work together to ensure everyone's health and well-being. Some families have asked, what will the day look like? What will in-person schooling look like, particularly the classroom? I do not have visuals for you at this time, but I do want to share a few key pieces of information. Procedures for arrival and dismissal will be modified to help ensure health and safety. We will also give you in advance a daily schedule and are working to give common experiences like morning announcements and typical experiences like classroom meetings. Desks will be in rows facing the front of the room. Where there are tables, we will limit the number of students at a table. We know that because in-person students are being divided into two groups, students will not sit directly next to one another. Trusting the work of our administrators and teachers and classroom assistants, I believe that our classrooms will still be inviting and warm, and at the same time following the guidelines, again, for health and safety. As the summer progresses, and certainly before the school year begins, please look for updates that will include visuals for families to look at with their children and talk about how we are excited to return in person, perhaps nervous, but to talk about in advance what a school day will be. Transportation. You may know that we are part of the Greater Egg Harbor Regional Consortium, and we have been working with them. The bus companies and their staff are getting procedures for bus cleaning and sanitizing and protocols. We are looking at buses, and obviously we're dividing the children in half. Some children will be totally virtual, and some parents may be waiving transportation and transporting their own children. So we anticipate that the buses will not be full. Some people have suggested putting physical barriers between the seats on a bus. This is absolutely not allowed, as you can see on the screen. It creates a safety hazard in the event of an accident. And finally, things like hand sanitizer and masks will be available. Childcare. We know that some of you already use our before or after school program. And a common question is, will there be childcare after the 1:30 dismissal? And the answer is yes. Additional information will be forthcoming. So if you are a family that needs childcare, please check our Facebook page, our website, or contact the district office. You may be familiar with our district core values that you see on the left side of the screen. And we live by these values, strive to do so each and every day. During this pandemic, these values are even more important. And as I shared at this past Monday night's board meeting, two other values come to mind. One of them is balance, and it is balancing the academic progress we want our children to make with ensuring that we are supporting them socially and emotionally. It is balancing physical health and mental health and many other factors. We also need to be patient with ourselves and each other. We have many different viewpoints in our community and state and country and world. And when it comes to how the pandemic is being handled and what school should look like, and even other topics that are happening in our country, we'll combine that patience with that respect and that will help us work together for the benefit of the most important people, our children. So I ask you to please, families, go to the link for the commitment form and complete one for each of your children by Wednesday, August 5th. For staff, if you have questions or concerns, please communicate with your supervising administrator or Jim Bruffy, and you were emailed a form that may be applicable to your situation. I thank you so much for your time in listening and watching, for your patience as we continue to plan. I can assure you there will be additional updates, and please feel free to contact me at any time. Thank you, and be well. Peace and blessings to you and your family.